Hello and welcome to hankgames. My name is John Green, manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys, and also, you might not know this about me, published author. That's right, before I was a semi-professional FIFA player, I used to write books. Then I left it all behind for this sweet gig. We've got a gray-haired referee today. It's always good news. You want an elder statesman in that position, I think. There's manager Asiosi, looking good in his tracksuit. God, I'm handsome. Got that ginger pompadour. Today we're going to be talking about getting a book published. This, by the way, as you can see, we have the best defensive record in the league by far. We've given up 3 goals all season long. 14 games, 3 goals. You cannot stop Shea LaBeouf. It's very exciting. The only downside is that we haven't scored in approximately 12 years. Fortunately, people don't come to this for the high-quality FIFA playing. I do hope to score a goal again someday. I miss scoring goals. Like, it was cool. Like, I remember when I used to score goals in FIFA, and it was just like, it was to be honest with you, it was a little more fun playing in the goal-scoring days. But, you know, we live in a different time now, a time of goal drought. We're starting up front, John Green and Dom Polian. You know, I think part of the problem is that Ball John Green's been out for a while, but I don't think we can attribute all of our problems to that. That was a terrible pass. But this topic came from Tim, who contributed to the project for Awesome. Thank you, Tim, and wrote, how do I get an agent? Do I first get an editor? How do I write a good query letter? All of which are good questions. There are as many ways for books to get published as there are you know, people who have published books, and so I don't want to tell you that there is only one way. And also, these days, lots of people have good lives in self-publishing or publishing, you know, publishing work directly for an audience rather than through a publisher. And while in my own life, my publisher adds a ton of value, and I'm very grateful to have a publisher, there are lots of different ways to do it, and I don't at all want to tell you that, like, my way is the only way or the best way or anything like that. So, yeah, as always, take my advice with a grain of salt. I'm slightly better at giving advice than I am at playing FIFA, but oh god, only very slightly. That's a nice ball. That's not where I was intending to pass, but it all worked out. That's good. Then we're going to go to the middle of the pitch. That's nice. So, in general, if you're writing a novel, if you're writing nonfiction, it's a little bit different. But if you're writing a novel, you have to finish the book first. Very, very rarely do first novels sell to publishers without a completed manuscript. I have heard of it happening, but only on very rare occasions. So the first thing, and I think kind of the most important thing about getting published, is writing a book and writing a good book that's ready for a publisher to take it on. Speaking of taking on, we're doing a nice job up the flank here, and that's not a bad pass, and that's not a bad pass, and that's also quite a clever ball. And then, oh, it didn't work out, but everything until the end was great, just like usual. And I feel like in the conversation about getting published, sometimes the conversation about writing goes away, because we sort of like skip the writing part and get straight to the publishing part, when the writing part is 99% of what's interesting and important about the publishing part. So the first thing that I'd say is, you know, when you're working on a manuscript, even after you've finished a draft, I think it's a really good idea to have those kind of beta readers or alpha readers that you go out to, oh god, Shea LaBeouf, before you even go out to publishers. So if there are friends that you trust, if there are people you know who have good taste in books, talk to them. If they also, I think it always makes sense before you start pursuing the publishing process to think, well, what? Oh god, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It didn't happen. To think, what kind of, that was very good until the very end. What kind of book do I want to publish? Where do I want it to live in the bookstore? What kinds of books do I want it to be next to? And that, I think, is a good place to start the thinking about publishing process. This is not bad. It didn't work out, but it wasn't bad initially. That was quite horrific. I don't quite know what was going on there, but now we're in a one-on-one situation. Fortunately, we're so good defensively. Just kidding. I just got schooled. because I think knowing where you want it to live in a bookstore or what kinds of books you want to show up in the like Amazon similar to this book uh, algorithm, that helps you when it comes to thinking about who you want to be your agent or who you want to be your editor. And one of the things that I've a lot of my friends who published did, and I think is very smart, is to go to the books that you really like and the books that you kind of want to share space with on the bookshelf, and look in the acknowledgments and see who the agent for those books was, and then write to that agent according to their own rules. You know, like go to their, most agents have websites, or at least there's some, oh God, there's some way to find out. Was there a foul? Was there an offside? It's halftime. Meredith, I'm not thrilled with the results because I feel like, well, I mostly feel like Polion's the problem, and I feel like what this game needs is a hot slice of Lyle Taylor, and so that's what it's going to get. We're going to try to bring on the Caribbean Cristiano Ronaldo and see if we can get some action going here. It's been, I would say that we won that half, but we didn't win it in such a way that we, for instance, scored a goal. Yeah, so then as far as writing a query letter goes, I think, you know, in general, with writing, I think it's better to be good than clever. I think it's more important to write clearly and concisely and to summarize what your book is about than it is to try to, like, wow with your cleverness, what David Foster Wallace used to call "look mom, no hands" writing. I think agents are super accustomed to clever query letters, and I think they grow quickly tired of them. I do think it's good in general to get an agent before you get an editor, although in my particular case I didn't. I sold my book Looking for Alaska without an agent, which, like, was probably a bad idea in terms of money, but it all worked out for me. Oh God, it's gotta be. Oh, Lyle. But, like, I got the publishing situation I wanted, which in the end is probably more important than money, because I got the editor I wanted. And that's the other thing I would say is if you look at the books that you like and notice who they're edited by and what in the, you know, if a novel has acknowledgments, what the authors say about their editors is often pretty telling. I think if you write YA, I have to say, there's nobody better than Julie Strauss Gable. She is, and I'm not just saying that, she is the absolute best, both as an editor and as a publisher, both in terms of editorially, but also, you know, positioning your book so that it has every opportunity to succeed and find its broadest possible readership, which is one of the real gifts that Julie has given to my work, certainly. Oh, that's good defense, but not good enough, and it's a disaster, but everything worked out better than expected because of our, I think Shea LaBeouf scared that guy into missing. To be fair, I mean, their goalkeeper has had a ridiculous game, so it's a little, I'm struggling a little bit with the notion that we're getting good breaks here. I guess we are, but, like, I also think that they're getting good breaks. Come on, stay on the ball. We've got to move to a counter, to an ultra attacking situation, because we need to be, I want to see you on the ball. I want to see a little less defense, a little more offense. Our defensive record, some would argue it's too good. That's just me asking to give up a goal. Oh, God, we're just getting schooled. Just absolutely. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's a desperate situation at the back for the Wimbly Womblys, but we continued to pass because that's who we are as a club. That's nice. That's good. Go. Go. You waited. I was good. That was good. Now send it back. Oh, it almost made it through. Ah, frustrating. But we did some gegenpressing. Count. High press. That's good. It's Lyle Taylor on the edge of the box. What's the problem? Ossiosi manager doesn't like it at all. He's covering, he's thumping his chest. Lyle, do not walk offside. Lyle, don't walk offside for no reason. Good freaking gosh. Making a substitution. The 77th minute. So I think that that's my basic recommendation, to focus for as long as you can, as much as you can on the text of the manuscript, worrying less, I guess, waiting to worry about publishing until you are really happy with the manuscript. And then the other thing that I'd say is when you do go out to agents, it can be really frustrating and a slow process. And I mean, I had a very slow process with Looking for Alaska published, and it was frustrating. And at the time, it felt like forever. Like, it felt like forever that it took to sell the book, and then it felt like really forever that in between when, like I had a contract to publish it and when it actually came out. But I'm so grateful for that time now. And the reason I'm grateful for it is because you don't get your book back once it's in front of readers, whether you self-publish or not. I guess if you self-publish, you can kind of release like a second edition, which maybe there's some advantages to, but once it's out there, and the book has its life. And I am very grateful for the time that I had, alone with the book that became Looking for Alaska, and also the time that I've had alone with all of my stories. And I always feel like in a rush to publish, and I always feel like it's got to come out this year, and what can we do to make it come out in this time frame or that time frame? And then, yeah, and then when I have the benefit of hindsight, I always think, man, I'm really glad I had that extra time, because important things happen to the book then, and also because it stops being yours once it's in front of readers. So yeah, I guess take that time, value that time, and listen to any feedback that you get, which can also be hard. But usually, even if people are wrong about how to fix the problems, I think they're usually right about the problems. In a stirring turn of events, the Wimbly Womblys have had another 0-0 draw. I believe this is our 37th consecutive 0-0 draw. I'd like to thank Shea LaBeouf for his hard work in between the goalposts, and I would like to criticize the rest of the team for being complete crap. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.